Grim news confirmed by Israeli Defense Forces earlier today. A dual American and Israeli citizen who we've told you about in the past, a young man, 19 years old, named Itai Chen. It turns out he was killed by Hamas terrorists on October 7th. He was only 19 at the time of his murder. Until this news, he was believed to be among the more than 100 people still being held hostage by Hamas. Regular viewers of The Lead know we've spoken to Itai's parents on a number of occasions. He was the second of three sons. He was a former Boy Scout. He was a fierce basketball player, especially computer basketball. Here's how his father, Ruby, described Itai to me back in November.
He's a very talented kid. He sings, he dances, so he's typically the life of the party. He has been in the Boy Scouts until the age of 18, so he mentors young kids. And maybe the most important part, he and his older brother play, NBA 2K. So I get my ass whooped by my eldest son, so he needs his younger brother to come back so he could, go back and play with him NBA 2K.
It was just last Thursday when Ruby and his wife Hagit were right here sitting next to me on set. And Ruby shared a dream.
I actually had a dream 2 nights ago, where I saw the vision of President Biden referring to us and saying, well, your kid Itai, he's on a plane back home. And I still hope that might be able to happen.
Hagit described how the family marked what would have been Itai's 20th birthday in January.
Yeah, it's difficult. I know when it all started, I couldn't imagine he will not be at home on his 20th birthday, and he likes to, celebrate big. He likes his birthday like any other person, and we just mentioned his birthday with family, and good friends came with us, to Jerusalem, to the wall. We put, we pray together.
Yeah.
Many people together, the people who love him, pray for his return, safely return home.
Absolutely heartbreaking. Our deepest condolences to the Chen family as they grieve and begin this process. Itai Chen was murdered while serving Israel on the Gaza border on October 7th. He was only 19 years old. Again, an American and Israeli citizen. May his memory be a blessing. Ruby and Hagit Chen were guests at last week's State of the Union, brought by both Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina and Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa. Senator Ernst joins us now. And Senator Ernst, this is an American kid. He was a dual citizen, but he was an American citizen in addition to being an Israeli citizen. It's just heartbreaking. What is your response?
It is heartbreaking, Jake, and my hope, as I had gotten to know Ruby and Hagit and the other hostage families, was that I would be part of that welcome home ceremony for all 6 of our American hostages. And today that hope was dashed, obviously, for Ruby and for Hagit with the loss of Itai. And it is devastating. It is the knowledge now that their son will not come home. And we will pray that we see the others return safely. But again, this family's hopes have been dashed at the hands of Hamas during that horrific October 7th attack on Israel.
What more needs to be done to get the hostages home and to get the remains of the hostages that were killed while they were in Gaza, out of Gaza? Because I've heard some of the hostage families, and I'm sure you've heard this too, they say that the Netanyahu government is too focused on destroying Hamas and not focused enough on doing everything they can to get the hostages home. What do you want to see happen?
Well, I am a fierce advocate for these hostage families, and whether it is working with the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, whether it is additional pressure coming from this administration and President Biden on Egypt, on Qatar especially, and on those that might have influence over Hamas, I'm leaning heavily on Qatar right now. They really need to bring Hamas to the table. They need to push Hamas to release not only our American hostages, that is my priority, but absolutely all of those hostages that they are holding, whether they are alive or whether they are deceased. all of them need to come home. Qatar can be a key there. We're leaning on the Prime Minister. They are a non-NATO ally. They need to step up and show us that they are a non-NATO ally. So, Jake, I'm going to continue to pressure everyone that I think can be involved in the return of these hostages.
It's more philosophically, I'm older than you, I think, and I have to say that I remember when there were American hostages being held in the Middle East during the Iran hostage crisis, 79, 80, 81, and the whole country, no matter what they thought about Iran policy or Jimmy Carter or Ronald Reagan or the Ayatollah or whether or not the United States was responsible for, you know, the coup and Mossadegh and the Shah, whatever, everybody agreed, get the American hostages home, get the innocent people home. Where is that spirit today? I don't feel it.
Yeah, absolutely, Jake. And this is the sorry state of affairs right now, where we have American hostages being held by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And yet, Jake, I would guarantee that most Americans don't realize that we have American hostages being held by Hamas, nor do they realize that over 30 Americans were killed on October 7th by Hamas. And there is this division that we see across the United States now, where people are getting very, very confused about Hamas and the Palestinians involved. So we've got to separate the two, whether it is Hamas, the terrorists that committed these atrocities. We need to condemn that, and we need to force them to give our American hostages back. And I wish the American public could distinguish between the two. We really do need to target Hamas and their dastardly deeds, the evil doings from October 7th moving forward, and make sure that we are holding them to account. But again, Jake, I just think so many Americans don't realize the tragic loss of American life on October 7th and the fact that we still have innocent Americans that are being held by Hamas in the Gaza Strip.
Republican Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, thank you so much for your time and appreciate you joining us in this sad moment.
And my condolences.